Oh, welcome back to the program, Psychophants. Welcome back to the Dog and Pony Show. I thought what we would do today is go through the E36 M3 project task list and kind of just see where we are. Get a lay of the land and see what's been done, what hasn't been done, what's been partially done, and what's been half-assed. If you remember when we looked through the project task list a couple of weeks ago, well, maybe more than a month ago, we covered a bunch of ground here. There's a lot of stuff on here. And I mentioned at the time we might not go in order. We might jump around the list a bit just as time allows and as convenience allows. And that's sort of what I've done. But I think it's going to be easier to go through this list from top to bottom, just to make it easier for you guys to follow. So that's going to be the plan here. So we'll just kind of start at the top. We'll work our way down and just figure out where we are with all these things. So without further ado, let's start with immediate fixes at the very top. These were ones that I really wanted to sort of resolve early on. And unfortunately, the first one I haven't done anything about. The driver's fog light bulb, I pretty much decided that I'm leaning towards just replacing the fog light lenses completely in both bulbs rather than just replace the bulb, because the OEM lenses are they're not very good looking. They're opaque in color. And for like $60, $50, I can replace both lenses with like crystal clear lenses that update the front of the car. Another $30, $40, I can get whiter bulbs to put in them. So let's just do it once and do it right. I was actually 1 or 2 clicks away online on eBay and Amazon and stuff to order these things to get it done. But since I haven't done anything to the front of the car yet, I haven't cleaned it, I haven't rock chip fixed it, any of that stuff, there's really no hurry for it. So waiting to be done. Number 2, replace the headlight switch dash light. Yep, that is done, 100%. And it was probably a $4 bulb. It took me about an hour to do, so we kind of hit the mark there. If you guys, if you want to do it real easy, it's easy. It's just you got to finagle it a little bit when you put the little HVAC headlight assembly back in so it fits properly. You kind of got to stick a long pry tool in there in order to fit it back in. But it's a bulb that burns out a lot. It's always on, so obviously it has to be on. Otherwise, you can't find your headlight switch at night. So if you want to do that little DIY project for yourself, watch the video and go for it. The third one, replace the coin box. You had a buddy send that to me. Yep, that one's done. $15. I don't even think it took 1/10 of an hour. Replace the shift knob with the ZHP shift knob. Well, that was really one of the first projects that we did, and it's 100% done, and it was about $80, but it took longer than half an hour. I'm guessing it probably took an hour and a half, just because if you watch that video, I did some extensive cleaning of the leather shift boot. I took that off and used some leather cleaner, a whole bunch of other stuff to kind of get that as perfect as I could. So if you want to just replace the knob itself, it's not very hard. But if you want to do all the other stuff and really clean everything up and put it back together right, it'll take a little bit longer than that. Next on the list, replace the driver's side rocker panel rubber seal. Yeah, we did do that. So let's mark him off. And man, was that a pain in the ass. Getting the damn rocker panel off, the side skirt off, was far more of a challenge than just replacing the rubber seal. The rubber seal just got sticky tape on the side. You pull that off, you stick the new rubber seal on, and you're good to go. But pulling all those damn grommets and fasteners and rivets and clips and stuff out, and then it took longer than 3 hours, probably more like 5.5 hours, just because 2 or 3 hours of that was just cleaning all that stuff. Cleaning underneath the side skirts, cleaning the side skirts, getting years of tar and rubber and stuff off the very bottom of that. So, it took the better part of an afternoon to really do it right, but I'm glad that it's done. So that was one of the bigger projects. Replace the rear window outer rubber seal. Yeah, we did do that. So we can mark him off. $77, I think that's about right. Didn't have an estimated number of hours. I would say that took me a couple hours, maybe a little bit longer than that. Let's be generous. Let's say 2. let's say 2.5 hours, just for grins, because I did do some cleaning inside the where the rain gutters are, where the rubber seal goes. So that one of these projects so far, that's probably the one that was surprisingly the easiest. You would think it might be the hardest because, anytime you're dealing with glass and stuff, you kind of get a little bit scared because if you do it wrong, you're going to have water in your car. But really, it's not that difficult. As long as you got a pry tool and you take your time with it, anybody can do that. So that one is done. So glad that one is out of the way. Replace the windshield cowling cover kit. Yeah, we did do that, but it was more than $51 because if you remember, I foobarred the left cowling because I couldn't get the little grommets and rivets to snap in properly. So by the time I got done with that and ordered another one, it was probably like, with tax and shipping and all that, probably like $110. And I spent more than 3 hours on it, probably because I had to do it 1.5 times basically. So probably more like, let's say 4 point. Well, I did a lot of cleaning too. I did, I cleaned all on the underside of the cowling, and that took a while. Again, most people are probably going to go to that hassle. But when I'm doing it, I might as well just take my time. So that's what I did. So that was probably like 4 or 5 hours. And then the last one kind of on this immediate list, the evaporative system control. I haven't even touched that yet. I mean, really, I haven't driven the car much since I've had it in the garage doing all these other fixes and repairs and stuff. So, and that's going to be something that's really over and above my pay grade. So I'm going to have to find somebody to worry about that one. So let's go further down the list and kind of see where these babies are. This is cleaning and reconditioning of the interior. Okay, vacuum and clean all major surfaces. I pretty much did that. I did a run through the vacuum and got the main dirt out. I probably could do it again though because I've been in and out of the car a few times. So I have that to look forward to, but that didn't cost any money. Yeah, in 2 hours maybe. Probably didn't even take that long. Let's say 1.5 hours. Next on the list, clean and condition all leather surfaces. Let me take that back. I did test my Trinova leather cleaner on just a part of the passenger seat just to see what was going on there. But other than that, I really haven't done anything. So I'm going to say 10% there. And that's probably going to take a lot longer than 3.5 hours. And I'll tell you why in a second. Condition, which is spelled wrong there. Condition, restore the black plastic rubber surfaces. Haven't done anything to the inside of that. On the interior. And I'm going to use black again, more than likely, then back to black. Shampoo all the carpets. I did do some of that. 50% is probably about right, but I'm going to do it again. And I'm probably going to use my steamer to go back over it and pull out any remaining dirt. And I'll probably use the steamer on the leather too. Replace the floor mats. Okay, I've got those. They're just sitting in my basement, so those are ready to go. Insert WeatherTech floor mats. I've done that. I just put them in there just so I could keep my shoes off the carpet. Vacuum, shampoo, and detail the trunk compartment. That was a project we did and completed. It might have been the first one, actually. That probably took longer than an hour and a half, I'm guessing, because if you remember, I pulled the spare tire out, cleaned all that up. I probably spent 4.5 hours, maybe even longer than that. But let's say 4.5 hours messing around with that. Actually, we got a list. We got a line item for the spare tire area. So let's make this 2.5 hours. And we'll mark this puppy off as well as being complete. But that probably took come on, it's about 4.5 hours. So that's done. So that's good. Clean and detail the toolkit area. I kind of sort of just glazed through that really quick. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. We'll say that's half done. And insert the OEM cargo mat. That was simple. That was just an order and put it on the hooks inside the trunk. So that's done. Okay, so we still have some work to do on the interior. Basically, on the interior, I'm going to take the steamer and I'm just going to steam the living shit out of the inside of it just to pull out all remaining dirt that I can. I'm going to use it on the leather surfaces. I mean, you can use it on anything. Steam is just, it's just hot, steamy, it's water, it's H2O. It's just, above 212. So as long as you're careful with it, it can pretty much clean any surface. So we'll see how it does. But, I'm under the presumption that it's never been sort of steam cleaned in its life, the interior. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of dirt comes out. Okay, next to cleaning or conditioning the exterior. Wash the car and remove all prior products and contaminants. Yes, we did do that. We have officially washed the car. And 2 hours is probably about right. Clean and detail the door sills, trunk jams, undersided trunk lid. I have done some of that. I'd probably say 30%. I did clean the trunk jams when I was cleaning the trunk. I did it at a little bit later. I didn't create a video on it, but I do have some, I think, footage of me doing it. So I might roll that footage into another video somewhere. But I did finally clean the trunk jams out. I used my steamer again for that, and just also cleaning those little trunk arms that help the trunk move up and down, brackets and stuff. So I steam cleaned those as well. But still, some work to do there because I haven't done anything with the door sills, and that's going to take some work. So, unlike a 2-door, I got 4-door sills to deal with now. So, I'll steam clean those and go at those as soon as I can get a car out of the garage. I can't really clean those things because I have to have the doors open, and I can only really have one car inside the garage to get on both sides of the car to clean it. And I got some outdoor house projects that are going on outside that are causing a mess, so I can't really have the other cars outside right now. So it's on the list, we just haven't got to it yet. Clean the tires, rubber cleaner. Haven't done anything with that. I mean, when I washed the car, I cleaned them, but I really haven't detailed them. Clean the rubber trim pieces with rubber cleaner. I did do a little bit on the trunk, let's say 10%, but I haven't done anything with the window trim, the front bumper trim, any of that stuff. So I'm kind of leaving that towards the end. I'd like to get a lot of the paint work done before then, and come back and hit the rubber stuff at the very end. Put the taillights, clean taillights and housing. Yeah, I did do that. And that took longer than 1.5 hours because I ended up replacing one of the taillights when I partially broke it and then had the fault air, as you saw in the video, taillight air, brake light air actually, because those little prongs that you put the bulb into, and then you put the prong inside the back of the tail light. The prong was all foobarred up, and the bracket that it twists into was all foobarred up too, and the metal was torn off and broken and stuff. So by the time I fought around with that and cleaned it twice, actually, that was probably more like 3.8 hours, because if you remember when I pulled that rubber gasket off on the right rear tail light, it didn't come off. It was still connected to the sort of the frame of where the tail light goes, and I had to motherfuck that thing off with a bunch of goo gone. So, but at least that one is done. Remove remaining, which is spelled wrong. Wax products, holdovers. No, haven't done that because I've really only done the trunk area, so I haven't used any like paint prep or any other strippers. to take that off the rest of the car. And I do that. I'm probably going to do that. Well, actually, let me mark that off. Let's say 15% because I'm going to do it as I do each panel. I'm not going to do the whole car at once because it just makes the panel look terrible. So I like to run that stuff over one panel at a time, put the stuff on, get all the residual stuff off the car, go over it with my polish and stuff to sort of get one panel completely done. So that's going to be a continuing project there that's going to essentially just follow the polishing of the car. Clay bar the vehicle to remove contaminants. Again, that's sort of a process that we're doing with waxing or removing the wax holdover products and polishing. Let's say that's 15% done because I've done about 15% of the car. Razor scrape the windows and clay bar. Again, I did the rear window not too long ago. Let's say 25%. So I've got side windows and the windshield to do. And by the way, if I can just have a sidebar here for a second on cleaning windows, it is the one pain in the ass that I hate doing more than anything else, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's just a pain in the ass to do because you have to clean both sides. And number two, I've never run into a cleaning product, a window cleaning product that was worth a shit. I've tried every single one of them. You name the product, I've tried it. It doesn't matter what product it is. I don't think any of them are any good. And so the only thing that I found that really cleans, at least the exterior of the windows, to my satisfaction, is clay barring them and razor scraping them. And it's the only place on the car where I'll use an actual razor blade, not a plastic blade that you can use on paint, but I'll use an actual metal razor blade. And as long as you got a lot of lubrication, you use your detailing product of your choice that's got a lot of lubricant, you spray that on the car, and I got a big long handle. I can stick this razor blade in and scrape all the stuff off of the window. And also go back and clay bar it and pull all the contaminants and stuff off, because that's what's keeping the window from being clean and looking clean. It's just you've got contaminants and stuff on there, and just the regular window products that you put on there aren't going to get that stuff off. And then when you try to wipe them, it just smears them. And every window cleaning product I've ever used doesn't dry clear. It makes a bigger mess. So this is the only way I've ever found that really works. And that's what I do before I go to a concourse. Okay, 2-stage polish. Okay, so that sidebar's over. 2-stage polish, Rupees Orbital. Well, since I've done the rear of the car, let's say and I did the hood, so let's say I'm 20% done. And I did the roof, let's say 25%. In 15 hours, I probably got, I tell you what, I probably got 8 hours in it already. We're going to have to change this to more like 25 hours. Wax the car, not even close to doing that yet. That's going to be at the very end. And screw the M valve stem caps on. I did get those. They came in the mail. Stuck those on, and then stuck one on the spare tire as well. I think those were like $9 actually. Okay. Now we're down to cleaning and reconditioning the engine bay. Clean and detail alt paint surfaces, jams. I've done some of this actually. Again, I've shot some footage of this, but I haven't rolled it into a video yet. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. I might just do sort of a catch-all video of a bunch of just various projects I kind of tackled in a day. I kind of just moved around the car and picked and choose things as I wanted to, so I wouldn't get bored. And this was kind of one of them. So I did do some cleaning here. So let's say this is 65% done. Pull and clean the headlights. I haven't done that. I did not pull them. But I did clean the visible, reachable engine surfaces. And I did do a little bit of steaming in the engine. Let's say that's 70% done. I need to go back through it one more time and just make sure I didn't miss anything. But I do have some video of me doing this. I just haven't got around to editing it. Install quick battery charge disconnect. Did do that. That is done. You saw the video on that. That took more than a half hour because I had to motherfuck a connection in the front of in the engine area where the positive terminal is, and it's not really a conventional way of doing it. It's certainly not like the E46, where it's really just plug and play. You've got to pull a cap off and get underneath it. So that was more like an hour in order to get it exactly how I wanted to. Okay, there's another spelling mistake. Okay, non-critical repairs and upgrades. Okay, this is kind of the fun stuff, and I'll kind of tell you where this is and where I'm leaning here because I've had some time to think about this in the downtime. Clean and detail all the wheel wells. That will get done. We just haven't got to it yet. Replace the interior lights with LED lighting kit. We did that. So we decided to add that one to the project list and get it done early. 3 hours that's about right. Maybe a little bit quicker than that, but I took my time with it. And obviously, when I'm trying to shoot video, this stuff, it takes longer than if I was just doing it by myself. So, it wasn't too much of a problem though. Everything pretty much went in as expected. The most difficult lights in order to screw around with are the ones in the rear, the map lights, reading lights for the rear seats. The other ones are pretty straightforward. Replace the fog light housings with aftermarket. Again, I mentioned that above. I will do that. I just haven't got to it yet. That's probably going to be a little bit later. Replace the C33 stereo head unit. We did that. So we added that to the list. We replaced it with a CD43. Half hour. It took a little bit longer than that just because I had a little bit of trouble getting the wiring harness off the C33. It's like it was never been taken off in 20 years, and so it was sort of soldered on there. So that was kind of a bitch to get off. So let's say by the time I got done with it and tested it and put my radio code in and all that stuff and put it back in and screw the new one in, probably like, let's say 8 cents an hour. And it was $300. And by the way, I mentioned it in the video, but it makes a huge difference just by replacing that head unit. I could tell the stereo was louder. It sounded better, more wattage. The RDS, the radio information, the text information is really great. So you know what song's playing, you know what radio station you're on. So glad I did that. Replace the speakers and subwoofers. I'm going to change this to $350 estimate because Bavarian Soundworks does the sort of stage 1 upgrade kit for the E36, but I don't think that had anything to do with subwoofers. It's just a speaker kit. It's like 6 speakers, 2 in the footwells, 2 in the front doors, 2 in the rear shelf, and there might be some tweeters in there. I've actually, much like the fog lights, I've been 1 or 2 clicks away from ordering this thing too. And I thought, well, this could be a weekend project, bang this out on a Saturday or something and be done with it. But again, other things I'm worrying about right now, and I would kind of like to get all the exterior stuff done before tackling interior stuff. It just make it easier. I know I don't have to worry about the outside stuff anymore, and I can focus on the inside, get the speakers in, clean the inside, steam, clean, all that stuff. Replace headlights. Really haven't thought about that. Replace the side markers. I'm fine with the ambers for now. Replace the taillights. That's not going to happen because obviously I made the choice to pull the original taillight out and replace it with an OEM taillight. So let's just delete him out. Okay. So we're sticking with the OEM looking taillights. Replace turn signal lenses. I don't think I'm going to do that either. Again, I'm going to stick with OEM. Try to keep it OEM looking. Replace exhaust. I thought about this. Excuse me. And I think I've listened to a bunch of exhausts, and it's much cheaper to do an exhaust on the E36 rather than the E46, at least to my taste, for what I'm looking for whatever reason. And is it a Stramung or a Stramung? That's the one I've kind of settled on in terms of the best looking and at a decent price. There's a whole bunch out there, and Borlas and Remus, and I got Remus on the Cayman. So I mean, there's all kinds. Super Sprint. But I really don't want anything that's too loud and obnoxious. I mean, the Remus on the Cayman is way plenty loud as it is. So these folks out there that are doing complete headers and section two, section threes, and cat deletes and all this stuff. That drive me crazy. So I don't think that's going to be $1,200. I think the Stromung is like $650 or so. I don't really have the ability to put it on myself. Let's say a couple $100 in labor, and we'll estimate it at 900. But I think I might end up doing that. It's just not going to get done in the short term. Replace the trunk M3 badge. Just haven't thought about it. Replace the kidney grills. ECS Tuning says that the gloss grills, black grills, may be in July, so I might wait for those and make a decision then. And replace the doormat pockets. That will, if I end up doing that, and I'll see if they're rattling or not, but that would go hand in hand with replacing the speakers and the doors, because in order to do that, you have to pull the door cards out, and then I can address those at the same time if I need to glue them back in or something. So that's what we've got. That's pretty much the rundown of the task list so far. So I mean, we've made some progress here. Some of these things are that we haven't gotten to yet. These are kind of on an as needed basis. They're electives that we don't necessarily have to do. So at the very top, the immediate issues, and I wouldn't really call that immediate. That's not make or break right now. But other than the evaporative control issue, we pretty much got everything done in the first section. And then interior cleaning, we're probably about halfway there, maybe a little bit less than halfway. Exterior, a lot of work to do just because paint takes time. There's just no shortcut to it, and that's the problem. Polishing and waxing and clay barring. We're doing 2 stages of polishing. And by the way, speaking of polishing, the one thing I absolutely hate, and I've been seeing this on some of my Facebook groups that I belong to and on YouTube and stuff, where people say, well, my car, I just did a paint correction on it. I absolutely hate that term, paint correction. I don't know why people use that term, but it does not belong. You're not correcting paint. Paint is, it's not either correct or incorrect. It's either scratched or it's not scratched. Paint correction makes it sound like somebody applied the paint wrong. But it really doesn't have anything to do with the paint. It has to do with, the imperfections in the paint. So, you're fixing scratches. You're polishing out scratches and trying to hide rock chips and stuff like that. But I don't like paint correction as a term. It's just it's the wrong term to describe what's going on. So you'll never hear me use the term paint correction. You see, a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, I just did a 2-stage paint correction. Okay, well, I'm using Sonax in 2 stages of polish, but I'm just doing a 2-stage polish. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. So I'll just leave it at that. Little pet peeve of mine. Engine bay stuff, we're probably halfway there. If I actually took a picture of the engine bay right now, you'd probably be surprised how clean it is. So again, I have video on it. I just haven't created a video for YouTube yet for it. And then the elective stuff down here, I think we'll probably get to 2 or 3 more of these at least. Maybe the exhaust, the speakers in all likelihood. But those are not time sensitive in any way. So I got more than plenty of work to keep me busy here for the time being. And just, to give you an idea of how much time, this has taken. I bought the car. I got it back home in early March, like March 10th. It's the first part of May now. I've probably been at this a month because I had the car parked outside for a couple weeks. So I didn't do anything to it. So we've been at this a month, and I might be 30% done, 40% done, maybe 30%. And, there's probably at least 6 or 8 weeks of work here left. So, from the time I got a really good car in really good condition to farting around with all this stuff and getting it to a place where I want to get it to, it's a 3 or 4 month process at least. And it took just as long or longer for the E46, and that was in way better shape. There were some other issues there I had to deal with where it took longer than it should have, just because I had a couple of those scratches I needed to get out on the front bumper, and I don't have to worry about that with this car. But there are other issues here I have to attend to that I didn't on the other M3. So there you go. There's the project list sort of update, state of the union, so to speak, on where we are here. We'll go another month or so and see how far we get. We'll do another one of these. If you like this video, like it. If you didn't like it, you might as well just turn the channel off now, because you know what's coming over the next few weeks. You know what kind of content's coming. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ChrisWorldTV. And if you haven't subscribed, you can go ahead and subscribe today so you never miss an episode. Take care.